because his complete energy was engaged in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. Such is the power action of devotional service. The living entities are the marginal energy of the Lord, and therefore they're meant for being properly utilized in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. When this is not done, one's situation is called Maya. Therefore, the illusion of Maya is at once dissipated as soon as one's full energy is converted in the service of the Lord, instead of in sense enjoyment. From the personal example of Sri Narada Muni in his previous birth, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord says that the service of his servants is greater than his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. One should therefore choose a bona fide servant of the Lord, constantly engaged in his service, except such a servant as the spiritual master, and engage himself in the spiritual master's service. Such a spiritual master is a transparent medium by which to visualize the Lord, who is beyond the conception of the material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion to the service rendered. Utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is a progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord, and therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by the divine grace of the Lord's servant. Okay, so in this verse, few of the things I'm catching from the purport. So this, until now, this was the section ended with the last text that we read, where Narada Muni revealed the importance of describing Krishna's pastimes. Now, this next section from text 23, where we're beginning, until text 31, is where Narada Muni is sharing about his own life, how he became Narada Muni. So in here, what some of the things that Prabhupada is initially describing is that Narada Muni didn't come from a very significant parentage. He was a son of a maidservant. Also, Prabhupada is saying he was not properly educated. So, he didn't have any previous qualifications. And, but Prabhupada is saying because his complete energy was engaged in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. So Prabhupada is describing the importance and power of devotional service. We can see that, even for myself, I can speak. As I look back, I can, totally relate then saying that I didn't have like any previous education, any qualification, any education in a sense, spiritual education. We have always been taught, we were taught, and it's still the teaching in our family tradition that dharma, artha, kama, and we stopped there. I had never even heard of moksha as an option. So people just get stuck in that cycle because that's all we know. And Prabhupada is telling us, or devotional service, or we learn through Prabhupada's teaching, that, this repeated cycle of birth and death, we need to go beyond it. So even if we say, okay, I need to go beyond it, but we need to know what we need to do, right? So sometimes we have the problem, but we don't know the solution. So as we read through the purport, Prabhupada is also giving us the solution as what we're supposed to do. So the key is the unalloyed devotional service. And Prabhupada also in the thing is telling us that if we're not involved in devotional service, then Prabhupada is saying then when this is not done, one situation is called Maya. So we're either, we hear, or recently through my Bhakti Shastri classes, we learned that our position is of marginal energy. We're marginal energy. There is external energy, which is this Maya, and then we have internal energy, Lord spiritual potency. So as a marginal energy, we always have a choice. We always are given an option, a free will choice through our activity. Either we want to associate, or we want to be in Maya, or we want to engage in the Lord's service and be in spiritual, or associate with internal energy. And then we can always, at least, we can always be kind of going back and forth, but that's okay. Prabhupada is also further in that describing is what's really the key to always to purify ourselves, and how to be in the association of internal energy. So Prabhupada is saying that for the rest of the purport, he's describing the importance of having a bona fide spiritual master, and not just having a bona fide spiritual master, but engaging in the service of his representative, his pure devotees, spiritual master. So this whole system, Prabhupada, I feel, has already given us. And, I'm just gonna, a couple of verses that also were coming to my mind as I was reading this. One is also in chapter 2, this verse that Prabhupada tells us that, what is that verse? It's not, I don't know the exact number. If you don't mind, I'll quickly look it up. That everything, okay, here. Please bear with me. I don't know all the numbers really well, but I know it was in second chapter. If anybody knows, can you please help me? Do you know which one I'm talking about,
Mathaji, I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm getting 2 verses in my mind from second chapter. Is that the 3rd verse from second chapter, where Sutta Goswami offers to Shukadev? Is that the one?
No, the one where he says we have to engage in the service of the devotees to let me see. I know it's in the beginning of the...
Mataji, is it Susrushosha Dadanasya Vasudeva?
Yeah, that's one. I think so. Okay. Yes, that's the one. Okay. So yeah, this one. Shushushoshya Sadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nushevanat. So the translation, Prabhupada said, "O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva." So that's what I'm capturing from reading this. And, another thing is also when we meet a lot of people, Prabhupada, always, I've always been, never understood why Prabhupada always puts bona fide servant. What does this bona fide means? I've always thought about it. Prabhupada never just said spiritual master. So this bona fide is, we have to understand that it's somebody who comes in a line of disciplic succession. You know, there are a lot of gurus, a lot of people who are misleading the people, but we have to be careful on with who we associate with, and also the spiritual master is coming in line of the disciplic succession. Let's see, what else am I? I'm only doing one verse, right, Prabhu, today? Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Okay. Okay, so I think, and then this, and then also another verse I'm thinking, or that, you know, even to have a bona fide spiritual master, it's only by mercy of Guru and Krishna that we receive one. So this was Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So that's even to have a spiritual master in our life is a causeless mercy of Guru and Krishna. And we have to be very grateful, thankful, and engage in this service of these pure devotees and our spiritual master. So I feel like I'm going in circle now with my thoughts. So I will stop here. Oh yeah, one more point. As I was reading, I thought that Prabhupada is saying, where did it go? Yeah, the Lord says the service of his servant is greater than his personal service. The service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. So, you know, in that context, I was thinking that we hear that Krishna tells us that somebody who claims to be his devotee is not his devotee, but a devotee of a devotee is his devotee, something like that. So yeah, that's when I was reading that's what was coming to my mind. Yeah, that's all. Those are my thoughts from this verse. So I will open it up for anybody to share their thoughts, comments, discussion.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandatnam Pandurangapaldas.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I have a question.
Okay.
It's always bothering me. So
Okay.
I'm going to put it today. Why Krishna always says, serve my devotees. Don't worry about me. What is the reason behind? Because he is supreme. By serving him, we get Sukruti or whatever it is, the devotion. When Dhruva Maharaj was praying just by touching Lord Vishnu, he was able to get full knowledge and he became devotee. But before that also he served Narada Muni. Maybe that is the reason why he got darshan of Lord. But why he did not? No, the question is why he always stresses devotees. But even devotee says, oh, go to Krishna. So I'm always confused with this circle. Do you mind putting some... I have some thoughts, but I don't know whether those are valid or not. People on the call, maybe you. I'll go on mute.
I mean, from what I understand, that when we're in this material world, our consciousness is contaminated. We are in a contaminated state. So to reach Krishna, who is complete pure, we need to purify ourselves. We need to have some purification, and serving his devotees is it's like a means to clean ourselves. We have to clean ourselves before we can reach Krishna. And Krishna also, is non-different than Guru. When we say Guru, Krishna is there, and we say Krishna, Guru is there. So in one sense, whether we serve our Guru or whether we serve Krishna, it's the same. It's non-different. So that's where my thoughts are going with that question. But anybody else?
Especially what I was thinking is, to do this administration in this material world, Krishna needs devotees. So we have 33 crore devotees who are dedicated to Krishna, very perfectly, meticulously do the work. They don't deviate.
Right.
Sun comes on time, rains comes on time.
Yeah.
Sometimes here and there. They're better than me, for example. But why don't we serve them to go to Krishna? Why we say only bona fide? Are they not bona fide? Or just post Krishna chooses? Because when Krishna chooses, that means he is a devotee. He doesn't choose somebody randomly, right?
Right.
So that's where I got caught up.
You mean you're talking about like demigods?
Yeah, Devas, Devatas, they're all perfect devotees of the Lord. Maybe they have some desires here and there, like, even in this material world, the devotees have some desires. We don't have any perfect devotee here. We never see any perfect devotee. Prabhupada said so many times in the purport, there is no perfect devotee in this material world. You can see near perfect. But those near perfect also, these Devas and Devatas, correct? In one sense. Because right. Krishna personally comes and takes care of them. If Indra makes a mistake, he comes personally. But when you and me make a mistake, Krishna doesn't come. So he's much better than us.
Yeah.
So why can't we serve them so that they can, I don't know. I'm just
Prabhu, I'm just thinking in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has instructed us that, demigod worship is not, we don't have to do demigod worship. And then he also taught that by Govardhan Leela. I'm thinking that, for, let's say if I want to, become a doctor, there is a system that is set up. There is a bona fide system in a specific way that I have to pursue it if I want to reach the goal of becoming a doctor. So similar way, Krishna has given instructions of not doing demigod worship. And he has given this system, which Prabhupada is describing in here. And that is why we need to follow the system that's given to reach the end goal. I don't know, somebody else can please help.
Hare Krishna, Dandut Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you very much for this question. I don't know why this bothers of course me also, but I was thinking material world means lord over material nature, lord over somebody. So when you think, hey, Krishna is great, then I'm greater than everybody, so I will go directly to Krishna in one sense. So Krishna is teaching us the quality, how to be humble. And that way, without humility, I don't think we can understand anything anyway. So Krishna is giving us this example of humility. And how Kanchipurna was serving Varadaraj Swami directly, fanning him. And he said, no, better to go to Mahapurna, surrender to a devotee. So I was thinking, taking a humble mood is most important that is a qualification, first of all. But that second point, what you said, why don't we take the, Devatas worship? But maybe I'm thinking they're Kama Mishrita. That's why Prabhupada is telling is bona fide spiritual master. In that way, we know we are not surrendering to everyone. So we are basically looking for a bona fide who is pure in thoughts. That's my thought, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mathaji. Thank you, Prabhu.
One thought
I
coming
don't
up.
want to take all the time for my question. I want to give other persons also chance to ask and talk. Sorry, my questions are crazy.
Lingaraja Prabhu, you were saying something?
Yeah, the second part of the question, Mataji, I think why not demigods? I mean, the thought coming to me, I mean, like Prabhupada or what we had. I mean, though, I mean, maybe they are like, some of them are like maybe devotees, pure devotees, some of them maybe like Mishra Bhakti. But when we approach them, the intention would be to please our desires, right? So that way, I mean, we will not be able to come out of that dharma, artha, kama, moksha cycle, right? I mean, we will be trying to pray them to satisfy our desires, and once that is done, we'll not be crossing that step. So whereas when we try to, I mean, hear from a devotees, so I mean directly, right? So we'll at least hear that there is something else beyond that. But I think when we approach demigods, I don't know. I mean, unless one is very, very, very pure in that approach, I think it is difficult to get that. That's what coming to my mind.
I have one or two points actually. I was hearing this lecture on 4.34, that is Advidya Pranipatena, from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He was saying that Krishna wants to exclusively give this right of delivering the knowledge of Krishna to his devotees, just because they are so surrendered to Krishna and they don't have any other world other than Krishna. And that is why even Krishna was suggesting Arjuna that you should go to Gnanina Tattvadarshinaha. They have seen the truth and you should approach them. So that is one thing. And the second is, as far as the demigod point is concerned, I was hearing Prabhupada being quoted by one devotee that when Prabhupada met one person in Chennai, I guess. So this person was coming and arguing with one of Prabhupada's sannyasis, I think Giriraj Maharaj or someone, saying that I will worship Lord Shiva just like how you are worshipping Lord Krishna, with a pure intention, with pure love, nothing else. Then Prabhupada was saying that if you go to a liquor shop and say that you are drinking milk, nobody will accept. They will all know that you are going to a liquor shop to drink liquor only. So Prabhupada was giving this strong example of going to a demigod with a pure intention, because everyone around is drinking liquor. We will also be inspired to drink liquor. I mean, what Prabhupada means is that everyone is asking material desires from demigods, and that is why when we go also, we also have the same intention. And as such, when Pandran Gopal Prabhu, you have raised this very wonderful point that when people like Indra and others commit mistake, Krishna personally comes, and we don't see that happening here. I think Krishna comes there in an administrative role rather than because of love for Indra or someone. Whereas when a devotee like Dhruva Maharaj or Prahlad is doing devotional service, Krishna personally comes out of love for the devotee rather than just for some administrative setting. Whereas Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, these are all, of course, very superior because they are all being nominated by Krishna. They are being appointed by Krishna to take care of the material universal affairs. But as our Balram Prasad Prabhu was saying, they are in one sense Karma Mishra Bhaktas, because they have a desire to please Krishna, and at the same time they have other motivations also, and Krishna puts them there so that they get purified. In the case of Prithu Maharaj and Indra, of course Indra was in a universal administrative role and Prithu Maharaj was a king, but Vishnu came to please Prithu Maharaj than pleasing Indra, although he was siding Indra. So that is what comes to my mind, Prabhu. maybe there are so many mistakes. If devotees wants to chime in and correct me, I am open. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu Mataji. Sorry to take up all the time. Apologies, as usual. Sorry. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. I think we're out of time. If there is any.
Chitra Mataji is seriously thinking. Can you throw things out of your mind and so we can capture it?
I would like the teacher to speak, please.
Mataji, you are on mute.
Prabhu.
Bhakti Shastri teacher ki jai.
Okay, fine. No, I don't have anything to say. I was just thinking about somewhere there are verses where about this whole demigod worship. There is this thing about um, the 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 process of what do you say, the goal of bhakti, why we are practicing devotional service, is for going back to Krishna. That is actually speaking, in general kind of terms, it's liberation, if you say, like the highest form of liberation. And the devatas, even though they are they take shelter of Krishna. Yeah. So they take shelter of Krishna in many situations that we see, right? Like in the churning of milk ocean thing also, they go and take shelter of Krishna for a specific purpose. And the purpose is within this world, to not lose their positions. It doesn't demean them, but at the same time, so when they are in that circle, then they will not be able to award the highest form of liberation that we are looking for. And I think that's one of the reasons that we worship acharyas in a higher place than the devatas of this world. Our Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Prabhupada, they are actually at a different place even than the demigods, even though they may not, I don't know if they have proclaimed like that, but the place that they have Govinda is residing in there. That song is there, right? Gangara Parasha Hoile Nahi Paritra. Anyway, so like Govinda is actually staying in their heart. Govinda Vishram is in their heart. So they will be able to give Krishna directly than the devatas, even though the devatas are devotees of Krishna. Yeah, so that's one thought that's coming. And apart from that, pastime itself, Narada Muni's pastime itself is such a inspiration to take association with devotees seriously and value it. He had only for a limited time, like 4 months, 4 months of the rainy season, and the mood that he had, that was sufficient for him for the 4 months. We cannot really put him at a place and say, oh, he was Narada Muni, yeah, he can do it. Not like that actually, but it is for us. Whenever these acharyas share about their lives, it's not to put them on some other platform and just say that it doesn't apply to me. So that's my thought about this whole Narada Muni time. I'm really eagerly waiting for the rest of the pastime to read. That's my thoughts. And Govinda Mohini Mataji, thank you so much for your way of presentation, because I just wanted to say that you kept saying Srila Prabhupada said, you kept going back to Srila Prabhupada, and that was very strengthening for me to just hear multiple times the same thing. So thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I'll share my thoughts some other time. Probably we don't have time now.
Yeah, it's saying the meeting will end in 3 minutes. So
And Andhra Gopal Prabhu just like that, he's asking all these questions so that we can have discussion.
Mataji, please forgive me. No, that's not my intention. If I felt like that, or if anybody felt like that, please forgive me. My day has to progress properly. I don't want to make it happen. I'm seriously asking for help.
Why
I
is
have
it
my
an
own
offense?
thoughts. I have my own thoughts. That's all. But they may not be profound and authentic. I just want to understand from other devotees, as you said, association of devotees makes our faith more strength. That's all. Nothing to compete or Mataji, please, Prabhu, forgive me.
I did not mean that way, but anyway, I'm sorry about it. Let's talk offline. Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.